July 12th, 2005, 252 BSE 61934, Special Agents Herring and Anderson. All right. Kirk. It's okay if I call you that, right?
Oh, yeah, no problem.
So, and don't worry, Kirk. We just have to ask you a few questions because you found the body.
Oh, yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. I understand.
So, Kirk Cameron, 46, retired Woodbine County law enforcement, divorced. That information all correct?
Yeah.
And you found the body on the hiking trail?
Yeah, I was on a walk with my Josie.
Josie?
My dog.
Oh yeah. What breed? I have a golden doodle.
German Shepherd. Retired from the police force just like me.
Oh. So, how did you say you came across the body?
Well, I was on my usual 6 a.m. walk, and I like to get up early.
And do you usually go down that trail?
Oh, sometimes.
Well, why sometimes?
Well, that particular trail, there's a lot of trash there, you know. It's a real eyesore, and the smell is getting horrific. I'm surprised that town doesn't do anything about it, but people have been throwing shit there for years now.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So, you know, I guess I wanted to change of pace. I went down that trail, and despite the trash, you know, when you get to the end of the trail, there's a killer view of Woodpine.
So, how did you discover the remains of Keith Schwartz?
It was Josie. Yeah. She was all fussing and whining, and I was just trying to catch a view. And she's pawing at the ground, you know. I don't know what the hell was going on. I thought she had to go or something. Yeah, so she digs this little hole, and I saw the finger.
Keith Schwartz's finger.
Yes.
And describe it, please.
Well, was it an index finger or a ring finger? I'm not even sure. Yeah, it's a finger.
So what'd you do after?
I called the police, of course.
You see, Kirk, I don't think that's true.
Huh?
Yeah, well, the police say that you called at 7:10, all right? And that is 30 minutes before you say you found the body, what, 6:40?
Well, I needed a signal from my phone.
There's signal out there. Why did it take you so long to call police, Kirk?
Sexual misconduct.
What?
Sexual misconduct. He was discharged from Woodpine Police just a week prior. He got real touchy with one of the younger secretaries. Trust me, he's got plenty of bad blood here.
Suspect?
No. Young 20-year-old secretaries versus our killer who goes after 8 to 12-year-old boys. It's no match. The matter is history. Any other leads?
Hey, did you hear?
Hear what?
They caught BTK a couple months ago.
Of course, the whole serial crimes unit was talking about it.
Well, shame I didn't catch him.
You were on the BTK case?
Yeah, well, you know, back in '93, the case was considered cold. I mostly just did transcript. I went over already covered tracks made by Tench. What was your first case?
Mostly transcripts for other cases, mainly Larry Bright. Other than that, this is my first real field assignment.
Well, trust your gut when it comes to these bastards. You know, there's always something that gives them away. Although, some of them can be real good at making you think they're one of us.
Jesus Christ, fucking finally. I've been waiting in here for 3 hours.
Mr. Corman,
Whatever.
Frank, are you aware of the severity of the crimes you could be accused of?
What, you think I fucking off those kids?
Well, that remains to be determined, Frank Corman. We brought you in here today because the first victim was related to you.
Half-brother.
Where were you in the night of July 9th?
Watching TV.
Watching TV. Anyone to corroborate that story?
No. My girlfriend was out at the time. I was alone.
Out doing what, Frank?
I don't fucking know. Whatever women do in their free time.
So what you're telling me is you were at home with no witnesses and therefore no alibi?
I don't know what else to tell you.
Your mother told us a very different story.
What? No, she doesn't get home until...
She came home early. She said you weren't there when she arrived. Also called the police about it.
Fuck. Of course she fucking did.
So where were you?
I was
out.
Mom always nagged me that I need to get out more.
So your mother.
Yeah, what about her?
Did you love her?
What kind of fucking question is that? I lived with her.
It's a simple question, Mr. Corman.
We had our differences.
Divorced, always hopping between your father and her? Must have been unfortunate always being tossed aside, replaced. Maybe you want to take that frustration out on somebody, Mr. Corman. Maybe Justin. I have to ask you to sit down, Mr. Corman.
I want a fucking lawyer, asshole.
Damn it.
Well, there's nothing we can do. It's his constitutional right. Damon. When I said trust your gut, I didn't mean go at the guy.
Either way, he's not a killer.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Well, he's got no alibi. He lives practically next door to the victims. He fits the age, the race profile like a glove.
No matter how colorful his personality, he literally doesn't have the motivation.
All right, how so?
His girlfriend. The nicest thing she's ever said about him is that he's a lazy bum.
And laziness isn't exactly a crime.
Well, it isn't exactly an alibi either.
What's the verdict?
We've got nothing on him, at least for now.
Don't go in so strong next time, okay? And just cool it a bit with the formality. Makes you sound too much like an FBI agent. Here, forensic analysis just came in.
For all 5 victims,
Yep, all of them.
no sign of sexual assault.
Mutilation was post-mortem, too.
No other signs of torture or other injuries, except for Keith Shorts, who has a blunt force trauma to the back of the head.
Hey, look. Cyanide, found in all the victims. Is it possible that Keith Schwartz is from a copycat killer? You know, I mean, he's the outlier.
I don't think Keith's killer was a copycat.
He doesn't fit the age group. He has the blunt force trauma. The others don't have that.
But everything else is consistent. The dosage of cyanide right down to where the killer mutilated them. Standard procedure.
It's okay.
So, Miss Wilson.
It's horrible. What happened to those poor boys?
Well, that's why we're here, to make sure it never happens again. So, Miss Wilson, on July 20th, you made a phone call to the local office saying you had eyewitness testimony. Is that correct?
Yeah,
I'm going to need you to tell me exactly what you saw.
it's my neighbor, Julia Lane. She lives across the street.
Miss Wilson, we're looking for a male between the ages of 20 and 40.
I know, it's just... She's a local foster. She's fostered all these kids. God, we have so many in Woodpine.
Foster?
I work in social services. Yeah, with the Schwartz brothers and a lot of the kids that have gone missing.
Miss Wilson, I'm going to need the address and description of your neighbor. So, Miss Lane,
You can just call me Julia.
excuse me?
Sorry.
Julia, do you know why we brought you in?
It's about the boys, isn't it?
I'm sorry, we're gonna have to ask you to speak louder.
Keith, Harry, Nathan, Jamie. The first one wasn't one of mine.
You were the last person to have fostered these 4 boys, is that correct, Miss Lane?
You can just call me Julia. Yes, that's correct.
Well, it's just the formality.
Julia, would you mind telling us how 4 of the boys you cared for all ended up mutilated and poisoned?
Oh my God. The police report didn't say anything like that.
We don't tend to release information like that.
Where were you on the night of July 5th, Julia? Julia, if you have an alibi, anything at all,
I was home alone.
you do realize how bad that sounds, right?
I know, but Keith
What about Keith?
Keith came by. He knocked at the door. I think he was looking for Nathan, but I can't be sure. He was speaking so fast.
So the only possible witness to your alibi happens to be one of the victims?
I know.
Miss Lane, why didn't you come forward with this information sooner? You do
I
realize...
know how it sounds.
What my partner's trying to say is we just need to confirm where you were. We're doing our best to catch the killer.
He just wanted his brother back. He went down the street knocking on every door.
That's very important information. So why didn't you tell authorities?
I did.
Did what?
I told Sheriff Cameron 3 weeks ago, and Robarts a week ago when he took over.
Well, not exactly easing up, was it?
I thought we'd get something out of her.
It's not her.
James, you said it yourself. They're really good at seeming like they're one of us.
I know what I said. Alright. Well, there's good news. Or bad, depending on how you want to look at it.
What's that?
CCTV footage. 2 p.m., July 9th. Local library catches Frank just sitting outside. I mean, he's just sitting there. And he's probably there until 2 a.m.
Wait, so that means Frank's off the... Wait, what was Frank doing outside the library until 2 a.m.?
Well, apparently that's what he means when he says he was out and about.
Did he go inside?
No, not that we see.
Yeah, can we...
No. He's already lawyered up. He's got a possible alibi, and according to forensics, I mean, at the time of Keith's burial, he's now placed miles away. You okay?
Who's outside the same time as Frank?
What?
Frank lives at home with his mother, half-brother, and girlfriend.
What does she have to do with it?
Frank may have issues with his mother, but all issues aside, it's never stopped him from being a shut-in. So that means he's either afraid of something or someone.
So, you're saying it was...
Which one of them also happens to be a social worker? July 28th, 2005, 252B-SE-61934, Special Agents Anderson and Herring. Mallory, can I call you that?
Sure. I thought I already gave you everything I knew.
This is just more of a formality going back to check anything we may have missed. So, Mallory Wilson, age 27, social worker, CPS, is that correct?
Yeah.
So, Mallory, what can you tell me about the foster system at Woodpine?
Overcrowded. Not enough food to go around, not enough people to take them in.
Poor kids.
Yeah. Working around that every day, it's tough.
Did you ever bump into any of the foster victims? Keith, Nathan?
Yeah, sure.
When?
The Schwartz brothers came in a half a year ago. Their parents died. Their only relative was their uncle, who was some scumbag drug addict. Did you check up on my neighbor, Julia, like I suggested?
We don't release that kind of information, Mallory.
Right. But she did tell you Keith
Did
was
he
knocking on
knock
doors,
on
right?
your door?
Yeah.
When?
July 5th, around 3 p.m. I know, I answered.
Did you discuss anything?
He asked if I saw his brother, of course. I said no.
Poor kid just wanted his brother back.
I can't even imagine. Poisoned and mutilated, left for dead.
We don't release that kind of information, Mallory. Where were you on July 9th? Now, are we sure it was...
For the murder of Nathan and Keith Schwartz, yeah, I mean, we can pretty much confirm that. Look, we got an abundance of cleaning product found. We got Keith's shirt found hidden in a shed.
What about the other ones?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can confirm on Justin Holloway on relation, but you know, that'd be circumstantial at best. Now, the other two, Harry, Jamie, no. Not enough evidence to prosecute.
What about Frank?
Frankie, he's going to be a witness now. We'll see what he says if and when he decides to testify.
What about Julia?
Julia. I mean, what does your gut tell you? We got nothing on her. She's in the clear.
Damn.
Hey, just relax. Look, you did good.